Baby. So finna go in.
You live on Facebook?
I'm on Facebook, on Instagram. I'm live everywhere. Live on the five. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. It's the Conscious College checking in. 2 months de facto activity going on. It's time to show people what the common law is and what all this name change, confusion, status correction really about. First of all, let me say my prayers. Moorish American prayer. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. First of all, as you can see on the screen, we got an incorrect status correction. Alright, this is the problem. And I'm coming to set the record straight. If you want to correct status correction, click on the link uh in the bio or go to consciouscollege.org. Because this status correction is incorrect. First of all, let's just examine it. Now, this is a exemplification certificate, which is a beautiful instrument we use when we filing documents to get it exemplified off the record. If you know anything about getting things exemplified, that's getting it authenticated. You're authenticating the record. So what record was authenticated? As you can see right here, let me zoom in. It's an amended petition for name correction to correct all defects and errors filed August 2nd, 2021. Okay, number one problem right there is that it's amended petition. Okay, a petition. Then if you look down, it says in the matter of the application of, it has the person name, then for change of name. You see how I got it underlined in red? So that's a couple mistakes. Then you see it says case number. So this is something that was filed in court as a petition. Now let's look in the Black's Law Dictionary what a petition is. So we can understand what's the problem with a petition. Why do we don't want to file a petition when we saying we doing a status correction or any type of correction of the name? See, it's the difference between correcting the name and changing the name. When you change the name, you ain't correcting the name. And that's a problem. Okay, a petition. Black's Law Dictionary says this. A written address embodying the application or prayer from the person or persons preferring it to the power, body, or person to whom it is presented for the exercise of his or their authority in the redress of some wrong or the grant of some favor, privilege, or license. A formal written request addressed to some governmental authority. The right of the people to petition for redress of grievances is guaranteed by the First Amendment U.S. Constitution. Okay, so that's just the first paragraph already showing you what's the problem with a petition is. First of all, is you submitting to their jurisdiction. Whatever court you got to go to, you filing a prayer for them to give you a favor or some type of privilege or some type of license. This is not no type of enforcement of a right. There's nowhere it says a petition is an enforcement of a right. Too close. There's nowhere that says that a petition is an enforcement of a right. Islam. So that's the number one problem right there. Okay. So when you file a petition to court, you going inside the court, you paying court fees, filing fees, usually between $150 $300 just for that. Then you're gonna have to pay for a background check. That's gonna be what? At least 50 to 200 bucks. Then you gotta pay for a fingerprint. That's gonna be 50 to 100 bucks through the FBI. Then you gotta go file your name in the newspaper. That's another $200. So you pretty much out about 500 to $1,000 just trying to file a petition just to go to the judge and he can say what? No. Because what does it mean when you give authority to somebody? You giving them the power to say no. And see, this is the problem with filing a petition. You have you are submitting to the mercy of whatever jurisdiction you going under. Then on top of that, you're not correcting the name, you're creating an alias, which is in another attachment to your name. So does a name change uh uh clear your criminal background? Nah, it's not gonna clear your criminal background. But a name correction will clear your criminal background because you are creating a private citizen. You creating a private entity. When you have the right of privacy, you want to stay in private. This is all a public procedure. This is statutory because you going right into the court, into the public, and then filing the application. Now, anything new about application, all applications are contracts. All applications are contracts. They are securitizing all our applications. So you giving these people your security, then on top of that, you paying them to file it. You give these people your security in the application, and then they got the right to deny you. So that's the problem right there. Let's continue reading the definition of this petition. It says a petition, a formal written application to a court requesting judicial action on a certain matter. An application made to the court ex parte or where there are no parties in opposition, praying for the exercise of the judicial powers of the court in relation to some matter which is not the subject for a suit or action, or for authorities to do some act which requires the sanction of the court, as for the appointment of a guardian, for leave to sell trust property, etc. A written request to a board for action on some matter therein laid before it, followed by a citation in case law. So that's another problem. When you going into these jurisdictions, you putting your name on public record, you starting a case, even though a petition is not with a opposing party, you still submit to the judge. The whole point of this is to correct your nationality, to correct your status. It's not for you to go and just submit yourself, because then how are you going to use this name change as evidence when you challenging jurisdiction? And you show them that I went in another court and submitted to jurisdiction. It don't work like that. All right. So let's look up what is even status. A lot of people don't even have a Black's Law dictionary. Let's start there. You got to know what these words mean. You don't even got a Black's Law dictionary. Then anybody can say, hey, go ahead and file this paperwork. Go ahead and do this. Because you ain't even going to do your due diligence. You don't even got the proper tools. You got to have the proper tools before you enforce anything. And that's what we doing over here in the Conscious College. We not just selling you no paperwork. We not selling you no procedures. What we are doing is offering you a chance to learn at your own pace on what status correction really is. Take your time. Learn this for yourself, but you don't gotta go back and forth to no groups, jumping around, paying thousands of dollars just to do a name change. When a whole name change in itself and the nature of it is incorrect. I'm not saying anybody is wrong for what they doing, but if what you doing is wrong, then you wrong. You might have a good heart, what you trying to do, but you got the wrong information. So I'm here to correct and give you the right information. Join consciouscollege.org. Let's look at the definition of status. See, status go with the word statutory too. So you want to change your status. That's how you get out of statutory law. Now, status, definition, Black's Law Dictionary. I'm inside the 5th edition. Status says standing. Your standing. What is your standing? Your standing is your capacity in a case. Like, if do you have standing to sue somebody? If you don't even have standing, then you can't even sue somebody. That's how the Dred Scott case went down. For all these people that's claiming to be black, African American, those with no nationalities, Indians. The Dred Scott case was based on status. Black is a status. Negro is a status. Moorish American is a status. A national is a status. Islam. So status is your standing. Let's continue reading. It's a state of condition, social position, the legal relation of an individual to rest of the community, the rights, duties, capacities, and incapacities which determine a person to a given class. All right, that's what status is. It's the rights. It's your rights, your duties, your capacities, and incapacities. So if you don't have the right status, you're going to have a lot of incapacities, things you can't do. What that mean? Like challenge jurisdiction. That's the main thing. You're going to be under the jurisdiction of the courts because you steady submitting yourself, submitting applications, submit petitions for your status. So your status off top has incapacities to it, which determine a person to a given class. So you have classes of citizens. So you can't be the highest class of citizenship when you submit it to the jurisdiction, because the highest class of citizenship is a non-U.S. citizen. It's a national. That's a class of citizenship. It's 4 classes of citizenship. And that's why I'm dropping that book, Our Self-Law. That's going to teach you a lot about that. But you can come and jump in these classes in consciouscollege.org. But we talk about the classes of citizenship. So you got the national citizen. Then you have a naturalized citizen. Then you have a subject citizen, and then you have an alien. Okay, the national citizen is the indigenous of the land. Everywhere around the world, they, like if you go to China, they are Chinese national citizens. They call themselves nationals. Mexicans call themselves Mexicans nationals. Here we must call ourselves nationals. We are national citizenship. But first, that means you have to have a nationality. That's where it starts at. When you have allegiance to a nation. All right. So it's different classes of citizenship. A naturalized citizen is the Europeans. The Europeans are over here as naturalized citizens. They're not true Americans. They are naturalized Americans, meaning they had to transfer their citizenship from Europe to America. They're not indigenous. They came over here on the 1700s and the 1800s during the American, so-called American Revolution. Okay, so they are not indigenous. They don't belong here millions of years like we do as Moors and Moabites and Canaanites, the Phoenicians and etc. Islam. So it's certain classes of citizenship when you talk about status. Okay, so you can't just change your name as a U.S. citizen to another U.S. citizen name and then say, hey, I changed my status, my class of citizenship. What nation? Where's your nationality? It don't matter if you attach an affidavit to this procedure, statutory, you submitted already. Islam. Let's continue reading what a status is. Status is a legal, personal relationship, not temporary in its nature, nor terminable at the mere will of the parties, with which third persons and the state are concerned. And that's followed by citation, which is case law. So it says it is not temporary in its nature. Your status is not temporary in its nature, nor terminable at the mere will of the parties. So just because you want to change your status, you can't just terminate your status just by filing no affidavit, petition, and submit to these people jurisdiction. It's not that easy. That's what it's saying. This is not mere terminable, with which third persons in the state are concerned. What's that third person? The third person is the straw man. The third person is the straw man in each type of contract. It's three people to the contract. It's the straw man, it's you as the surety, and it's the person you contracting with. So when you looking at the definition of status in Black's Law Dictionary, this is what it says. See, I'm trying to make you conscious of your status when you going in and doing these procedures. When you going in and just saying, hey, I'm doing a name correction or a name change, are you really correcting the name just because you put it on the affidavit that this is a name correction, but I went and did submit myself to a jurisdiction? See, what we do, we follow what Noble Drew Ali did. See, he laid the pathway a long time ago. And what he did was file it on the record, on the county record, and enforced it from there. And that's under common law. See, that way you don't need no permission for your identity. According to the United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, they said everyone has a right to a nationality, and everybody has the right to change their nationality. So you have the right to correct your status, because your status is corrected to nationality. Let's look at the definition of nationality. Let's go into Black's Law Dictionary. This is for the readers, man. This ain't for the ones that's looking for the quick answer. This for the ones that looking for the correct answer. Because always the first answer ain't always correct answer. Sometimes you got to do your due diligence. And that's what I do. I do due diligence. Let's read the definition of nationality. I'm going to have to put that somewhere up there. Nationality is that quality or character which arises from the fact of a person's belonging to a nation or a state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while domicile determines his civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. Islam, because it's different type of classes of citizenship. So when we talking about nationality, it goes hand in hand with your status. And you can't submit to a foreign nationality jurisdiction doing a statutory procedure and say you changing your status and proclaiming your nationality. It goes hand in hand with you belonging to a nation or a state. What's the name of your government? If you correcting your nationality, you have to correct the government in which you live. How can you say I'm a U.S. citizen or I'm not a U.S. citizen, yet I'm steady submit to your jurisdiction? That means you have no knowledge or competence of international law. Nationality goes with international law. You have diversity of citizenship when you correct your status. That's what you're creating on the record is diversity of citizenship. See, this is what we teach you at the Conscious College. We're going to teach you how to diversify your citizenship, correct your status, not just change your name. They don't just do it. It tells you in the definition of a status. This is not just terminated at the mere will. You can't just say, hey, I don't have this status no more. It don't work that way. You have to actually correct the government in the jurisdiction that you under. And that's why we trying to educate you on government and status correction nationality over here at the Conscious College. Islam, this Grand Sheikh Davis Bey. Can I see I don't see I'm trying to see if I got any questions on private chat. Islam, we got some questions. Um It says, what are we reading that definition in Black's Law Dictionary? Islam, indeed. This all definitions are coming out of fifth edition, out of Black's Law Dictionary. Why do I go to Black's Law Dictionary? Let's see why we go to Black's Law Dictionary. It's right on introduction. I don't know if it's in here. Oh, here it go, right here. Okay, this is why we go in Black's Law Dictionary. Because Black Law Dictionary is the definitions of the terms and phrases of American and English jurisprudence, ancient and modern. All right. So this is why we go to Black's Law Dictionary, because it is the only dictionary for the American and English. What you mean by American and English? See, before you had any type of American dictionaries, they already had in England these type of law dictionaries, because most of these laws come from where, right? Even though they adopted our laws when they came over here, that's another subject matter. But what I'm saying is, this is a dictionary of jurisprudence, means the science of law, for ancient science of law, which is Moorish law. And we can verify that these Europeans definitely adopted law from the Moors. All law came from the Moors. So why not go into a book that gives you ancient definitions? I hear people talk down about Black's Law Dictionary, but Black's Law Dictionary is actually a legal standard for all courtrooms. Okay, it's the legal standard. Go another question. Does your status correction require you to go to court? No, our status correction, the status correction with the Conscious College, do not require you to go to court, but you still get a judge's signature. You still can get it, your record exemplified. You still get the clerk of the court signature. You still get the government seals. You still get everything you need to enforce your status. And on top of that, we give you additional courses on other things to enforce your status as well. So the name correction procedure is just not the name correction procedure. It also comes with the birth certificate, with a Moorish American birth certificate. And that's very important for you to have a Moorish American birth certificate, because their birth certificate that they gave us at birth is a bond. So when you correcting your status, you have to correct everything, especially if you have children. You don't have to do a name change for your children, but what you do have to do is a birth certificate for your children. So that's also included. Then also we have the passport procedure where you get it as a national instead of a US citizen. You can get the national passport. All that's in our status correction program. Okay? And you don't require you to go to court for none of these things. Next question. Okay, so I won't need to expunge anything on my record, just do a status correction. Correct. Correct. You don't have to expunge anything off your public record. All you have to do is a status correction. And if you want to clean up your public record, then you can go back and do that as the authorized representative of that name. And anytime you get into any type of court action, I have evidence, and I can show you that when I went into court, they tried to use my old cases against me. And it didn't work because I had my status corrected already. Here it is right here. Okay. This is why I got a case dismissed. And they tried to use my old um status against me, and it didn't work. Okay. Right here it says notice of intention to use evidence of prior convictions in extraneous offenses. They filed two of those. And then you see right on top of there it says um notice to intent to use expert testimony. Okay. So they brought expert witnesses out in testimony against me. And then you see the next file said W-9 official form. Then up top of that says requesting for information to process payments. Then right after that says complaint dismissed. All right. So that didn't matter. You know what I did after that when they tried to file and use my old name against me? I submitted a W-9 requesting information to process payments. Why did I do that? Because I know everything they doing is artificial, statutory. So that's also comes with conscious college. We're not just gonna teach you how to correct your name, but how to defend yourself. How to defend your rights is very important when you coming into nationality. You correcting your mindset and you correcting these people when they got you messed up in these courts. As you see, the complaint was dismissed. Okay. These are the type of things we were gonna review in our Sunday schools. All right. So no, you don't need to expunge any records. I never expunged any records of mine, but my record is clean now because I have a clean slate with my status correction. Next question. Um, all applications are definitely contracts. I listed that in the definitions for the food stamp. That's Sister Wizard Kelly. Sis gonna be going live with me pretty soon. Uh, but yeah, we have a lot to add in the conscious college. Okay, we got a question. Says Alcamon Hotel. Islam, brother. It says, my question would be is once you get the court order, who that is? Pardon self. It says once you get the court order for the name change, if you were filing out a job application, what would you put down as white, black, Asian, Latino, or non-resident alien? So that's a great question. So when you're doing job applications, that's your I-9 form you have to do when they ask you about citizenship and nationality. It has a section on the I-9 form, and let's look that up. It has a section on the I-9 form that actually says that you can file as a national, non-US citizen. So that's the correct status you want to go in as a job when you're doing the I-9 forms. The I-9 form is for immigration and citizenship. And that's the form you're going to fill out when they want to verify your social. They want to verify your eligibility to work in the United States when you contracting with United States. Go back. Let me share that screen. All right, so let's look at the I-9 form. So when you dealing with employment verification in any jobs, this is the standard form they got you filling out for the Department of Homeland Security. All right, this has got the OMB number. It's for U.S. citizenship and immigration services. So if you are a non-U.S. citizen, it has a check mark on box number 2. Box number 2, you're going to check off. Let's zoom in. Number 2, it says a non-citizen national of the United States. That's the correct status when you correct your status. All right, and I can show you I worked at a job, at a job under correct status.